I'm Dr. Ken Davis, and I have with me today my associate, Kristen Donches. I'm the founder and developer of the Davis Advanced Health System. We are in Montclair, New Jersey, an integrated and wellness-based practice going on, 47 years of being in practice. I'm also a IFBB Pro. I'm 71 years old. I'm still actively competing with a competition at the time of this recording coming up this Saturday in Florida at the MaxFit Pro. And also I'll be competing at the World Masters Championships in Pittsburgh on September, Kristen, that's the second, right? Third?
Second or third, yeah.
Second or third. So today our topic that we want to discuss is Testosterone 101. A lot of talk and a lot of evaluation about testosterone levels and testing for it, when to test, the increase, decrease of it, especially as we age and get older. And because a lot of, I would imagine that a lot of people that will be seeing this video may be competitive bodybuilders, athletes, training, and of course, male and female alike, who are also trying to get fit, need to understand a little bit more about, the process of taking testosterone and other supplementation. Also, one of the things that we want to discuss in these next few minutes is also the way in which our body breaks down testosterone and metabolites of other hormones, and which is really what the crux of this discussion is going to be about. And Kristen, why don't you, Kristen, tell them a little bit about you?
Okay. Well, I've worked with Dr. Davis for somewhere between 10 and 15 years. Prior to that, and still am a physical therapist, but I also did my undergraduate work in biochemistry, and that's biochemistry of the human being. So a lot into the functional medicine aspects of looking more in depth into the hormones in our digestive system and neurology and endocrinology. So it all plays together because we're human beings and we're not just, this, we think a lot about the physical body and our pains and aches, but we also have a whole another realm, even in the physical range that's under, that we can't see. And that's the biochemistry of us.
That's right. Also, we have to remember that, the focus, of course, hormonally is always mostly or a great percentage on the female element, especially as we move closer or as one moves closer to menopause. But, men go through menopause as well. And as we know, as we age, our testosterone levels do decrease. I mean, it is a known scientific fact. And
more than that, Doc, sorry to interrupt, but more than that, over the last 50 years, not, even taking the aging population part, take that totally out and put it aside, that male testosterone levels have decreased 1% per year. So if you took somebody that was 50 now and you went back in time 50 years ago and took a 50-year-old then, their testosterone level would be significantly higher than what we're seeing now. So not only do you have the aging process, you also have, just because of the environment we live in and the stressors we live in, that's majorly taken a toll. Yeah.
It's a major factor.
Yeah.
In our clinic, we primarily, most of our clinic and our practice is, as I mentioned, an integrative wellness-based curriculum programs where we're educating and working with people, especially in functional medicine, blood chemistry, metabolic profiles, and other integrative processes that we do. One of the tests that we utilize for functional medicine. And it's interesting because I have recently done a podcast on this for muscle and fitness, is what's called the Dutch test. And the Dutch test is a comprehensive urine and saliva test that really looks deeply at our sex hormones, um, and but more importantly, and I'm going to have Kristen talk to you guys about this a little bit, also the way in which, as I mentioned before, the body is breaking down and metabolizing the byproducts of the metabolites of hormones. So, Kristen, I'm going to hand this over to you and let you talk about it a little bit.
Okay. Well, first off, as Doc mentioned, the Dutch test does look at the hormone levels themselves. So they look at what's free and available, as well as those that are weakly bound, speaking of testosterone, within our system. So we get a really true picture of what the body's able to utilize of the hormone levels. So specifically testosterone, if you do a blood test, you see what's free and then you see what's bound, but you don't have that differentiation of what the body also binds the hormone loosely so it can travel where it needs to, but then the body's able to get it out of that, that bound situation. So it's still bioavailable. So that's something that the Dutch test looks at. It gives you a really true picture of what the body's able to use of those hormone levels. But then what you were speaking about specifically is the breakdown or metabolism of the hormones. And that's what happens with everybody, with every hormone. We make hormones every day. We make hormones. And if we just kept making them, the levels would be through the roof. The body has to break them down and get rid of them. And with testosterone specifically, there's two pathways that this happens, and I'm just going to call them the alpha and the beta to make it easier. And the one pathway is, not as androgenic, meaning it doesn't provide as much of a oomph and power that testosterone has, the metabolite, but it's safe. It doesn't target your prostate cells. It doesn't target the breast tissue and cause enlargement there, cause problems there. One of the things with this other pathway is that it's been known and that a lot of research has been done, and it has been linked to DNA damage to the cells that it targets. And specifically, it targets the prostate in men. It does target the breast tissue in men. It also targets the hair follicles. So you'll see a lot more loss of top of that male
Pattern
baldness.
male pattern.
You also see more acne. And again, it's as the metabolites, as the body breaks things down, it's still they still have an effect on the body. So there's still, androgenic, which is what testosterone is, effect on the body. It helps to build the muscles and all that kind of thing. But it can cause some serious damage. And the thing is that, we want to feel great. And there's benefits to having testosterone, like good levels in the body. And then if you're performing on a level that you need more testosterone as well, there's definitely benefits to that. The thing is that it's how it's broken down that causes the issue. And with the Dutch test, you see how it's being broken down, so if it's an issue or not. And not only that, there's things we can do to kind of slide it over to the other pathway, and make it so much more safe. So it's usually never a black and white situation with hormones. There's got to be balance, and there's ways that we can help the body bring it back into balance, which is key. And but you have to know. You can't just blindly take something and think that's going to do it.
Yeah, this is an important component, again, for really all of us to know, but especially those that are in a competitive format in the process of prep or preparation for, stage presence, showing online, supplementation and so forth, to know what that pathway is. And especially as you begin to take, as I just mentioned, supplementation and other components that are enhancing your prep. You have to know.
Yeah.
And it's also not just enough at times. It is important because I talk to many patients and many male and female, who are not routinely on their blood chemistry profile or rec form having their testosterone levels checked. And it's something that should be checked periodically during the course of your, you
Yeah.
know, as a understanding a preventative component
Yeah.
uh, on your testing.
The other major component that, I worry about is making sure the testing levels are good and all that. But is when you add testosterone, well, it doesn't even have to add testosterone. The humans make testosterone, male and female. We both make testosterone, and then it gets aromatized to estrogen. And so for the females, that happens right next door in the cell that, one cell in the ovary makes testosterone, and right next door, it's converted into estrogen. And that's how we get estrogen. Well, the same thing can happen in males. And if you have a high amount of testosterone, a lot of that can aromatize to estrogen, and then you're not getting the benefits of testosterone. You actually have the opposite effects, and then you have to, worry about keeping weight on, especially like not being able to get rid of it around your belly. You get the man boobs kind of thing. It's a lot of issues that, can again be dealt with and changed, and but you need to keep it as testosterone when we're speaking of males specifically.
Not converting it into
Yeah,
female, and
yeah,
vice versa.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't want estrogen being converted into male hormone in a
For
female.
females, not right, right.
Also, I just want to say too that remember what happens as one moves closer. I talked about this for years and decades. Is that to understanding that the adrenal glands, which are so vital in so many functions of the human body, that take over the job as a woman, especially is approaching menopause and there's less estrogen being produced by the ovaries. It's up to the adrenal glands to the adrenals say, okay, ovaries, I hear you, you're slowing down, we take over the job. Problem is, most individuals have already dysfunction functionally in their adrenal output of cortisol, DHEA, that greatly cortisol levels. Many people do not know where their cortisol levels to understand that cortisol should be the highest in the morning, a little bit less at 12 in the afternoon, a little less at 5 at night, and the lowest level when we're at 12 o'clock at night. If you do not test properly and understand what's going on, these are what produces the symptoms that many people go to other professionals and they're not getting the answers in which they're looking for. So the Dutch test and our testing definitely looks at all of these particular components, and then we can work together to be able to provide the support needed to deal with these products. Plus, on our team, we have a team approach in our clinic, in our practice, and we have other individuals. We work with a specific endocrinologist when necessary, because sometimes regular supplementation is not enough. And certainly there's many integrative physicians out there that are aware of this, and they are available. So we make that available too when needed. So that's a little bit about Testosterone 101. And remember, our motto too in our practice and clinic is test, don't guess. So meaning that seek out the proper testing. We work with individuals too all over the United States. Doesn't have to be directly in our office. A Dutch test if someone wants to have an evaluation, certainly we would be more than willing to work with you and explain to you how that works. And and that's a little bit about it. Anything else, Kristen, you want to say?
Well, the clip that's coming up right after this also goes into estrogen and progesterone, and just wanted to let you guys know that a lot of the same symptoms for low progesterone are the same as low testosterone. So you could be fooled there again by, the low libido, the not having the energy, mental clarity,
Right.
or like mood issues. uh, that could be low progesterone too. And again, it's all about balance. So,
About
but
balance.
there's more information right now.
Yes, stay tuned to the video. There's a lot of great information. And if you want to contact us, our website is info@davisahs.com. We are in Montclair, New Jersey, 973-744-7447. Um, and we appreciate your time. And please check out the video. There's a lot of great information. Thanks so much, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Men are born with 700 million Leydig cells. After age 20, they lose about 6 million Leydig cells per year. Thus, there is a natural small decrease in testosterone production as men age. Testosterone is highest at puberty and then starts to decline 1 to 2% yearly at age 30 years. Unfortunately, this process can be sped up through poor lifestyle habits, dietary choices, exposures, lack of exercise, and increased stress, resulting in men in their 20s and 30s experience the fallout of a low testosterone level. When there is not enough testosterone circulating in the body, it can cause a wide range of symptoms. However, a number of these symptoms may be nonspecific and can mimic the symptoms of other diseases and conditions. Some of the symptoms of low testosterone and androgen deficiency include reduced sexual desire, hot flushes and sweating, breast development, lethargy and fatigue, depression, reduced muscle mass and strength, increased body fat, particularly around the abdomen, weaker erections and orgasms, reduced amount of ejaculate, loss of body hair, reduced bone mass. Testosterone deficiency is common, and while young men can have deficiency, older men can still have healthy limits. Low T levels are associated with obesity, metabolic syndrome, sleep apnea, and cardiovascular disease. And please note that age-dependent range levels of testosterone on standard testosterone tests and even the Dutch test do not equal optimal range. The age ranges is matching the current population as is, but not taking into account that testosterone levels for a healthy man have been declining 1% a year for the last 50 years. This has nothing to do with the population aging and everything to do with our lifestyles, stress levels, environmental toxins, processed food, and poor sleep and hygiene. There is a very important relationship between testosterone and sleep. Testosterone is made during the night and is strongly tied to REM cycle sleep. Therefore, having a normal sleep pattern is very important. And even minor sleep changes can have an effect. Daytime testosterone levels were decreased by 10 to 15% in a small sample of young healthy men who underwent just 1 week of sleep restriction to 5 hours per night. So please, make sure you prioritize sleep. All the many ways stress and cortisol can disrupt the production of sperm and testosterone. So keep top of mind that stress can be emotional, dietary, physical pain and inflammation, environmental stressors, not sleeping, not exercising. So don't just associate it with mental stress. Now, let's look at an example of the male Dutch test. The area circled in red is specifically looking at testosterone and DHEA, the androgens, and their levels. Again, we are emphasizing we want optimal ranges, not normal age-dependent ranges, and this will be specifically discussed in your lab review sessions. Another important benefit of this test is that we're able to see the bioavailable testosterone level, the active forms of testosterone that can get into the cells. Blood work simply divides testosterone into free T and testosterone that's bound to transport proteins. We look at all the bioactive forms that can act on the cells. This helps us to have a much clearer picture of testosterone that can be utilized by the body. The area circled in green looks at the testosterone metabolites, androstenone and isoconanolone. There are two pathways that this can occur down. Let's discuss the importance of testosterone metabolism in more detail. Aldosterone and isoconanolone are metabolites which are byproducts of the breakdown of DHEA and testosterone to get it out of the body. The metabolites are byproducts that act as androgenic hormones as well. There are two pathways to break down DHEA and testosterone. The red circled pathway, the 5A pathway, leads to DHT, which is a much more potent form of testosterone. This pathway is located in the reproductive tract, the gonads, skin, hair, and nervous system. This 5A pathway acts locally in those cells. So if one has high DHT or very high testosterone levels, it can cause cystic acne, male pattern baldness, irritable moods, and it's associated with poor prostate health. DHT binds more strongly to androgen receptors and are tougher to knock off than testosterone. So the testosterone receptors are turned on longer. The action of DHT has approximately 2 to 5 times stronger effect than testosterone. So it's as if it's 2 to 5 times the amount of testosterone. This can be helpful if the testosterone level is very low, but can be detrimental if testosterone levels are normal or high. So when it comes to low testosterone, what can we do about it? Of course, we want to address all the causes. Stress is huge. Improve sleeping habits, dietary changes to support fertility, resistance training, and high interval intensive training. Also support the HPT axis and the testicles themselves through supplementation, as well as providing all the building blocks and cofactors necessary to produce testosterone. However, if the underlying causes are not dealt with, all the other changes you may make may not be enough to improve your levels. And now, let's review estrogen in men. Like with women, estrogen receptors are located all over the male body, in the brain, penis, testicles, and in adipocytes, which are fat cells. Estrogen is an important hormone in men. It helps promote libido, erectile function, and spermatogenesis. Symptoms of low estrogen include depression, lack of focus, hot flashes, bone loss, loss of muscle mass, and sexual dysfunction. And testosterone can actually change into estrogen. This process is called aromatization. In men, the testes produce 20% of the total estrogen. Bone, blood vessels, brain tissue, and fatty tissue also produce estrogen or aromatize testosterone into estrogen. So, what increases the aromatization process, thereby lowering your testosterone? Insulin resistance, excess weight, inflammation, increased stress, and excess alcohol are all contribute to an increased conversion from testosterone to estrogen. And symptoms of increased estrogen are very similar to those of decreased testosterone. They include fatigue, low mood, low libido, weight gain, breast development, and erectile dysfunction. And just like in women, another major cause of increased estrogen in men is an impaired estrogen metabolism, also known as your metabolic detoxification. This is the process of eliminating hormones and toxins from your body. This works on a daily basis without your help, but it can get overloaded by the many estrogen mimicking chemicals we face on a daily basis. And it can be worsened by genetic changes that can make you slower to detoxify estrogen and increase your vulnerability to elevated estrogen. And also, just like the women, there are 3 steps or phases to break down estrogen into a water-based state so it can be excreted out of the body safely. A breakdown in any one of these stages can increase the overall estrogen in your body. During phase 1 is the breakdown of estrogen to a semi-toxic state happening properly. During phase 2 is the methylation process working to make the broken down estrogen into a water-soluble form. And during stage or phase 3, are there any blockages in the elimination process? In this case, any gut dysfunction can contribute to a backup. The first 2 phases occur in your liver, and the third is your elimination process through your kidneys and colon. Let's take a closer look at your progesterone hormone. It's known as your calming, mood, sleep, libido, and bone enhancing hormone. It also acts to decrease estrogen in your body. As men age, their levels of progesterone start to decrease. Natural production by the testes and adrenals in men starts to decrease with aging, but can also decrease due to all forms of stress, pain and inflammation, dietary, mental, emotional, and environmental, and can lead to an imbalance not only of progesterone, but also lead to decreased testosterone and an increase of estrogen. Having a balance between testosterone, progesterone, and male estrogen is the key to being healthy. Symptoms of progesterone imbalance look very similar to testosterone imbalance. They are decreased or lack of energy, decreased libido or sex drive, less sexual arousal with weaker erections, erectile dysfunction, cognitive issues, weight gain, thinning of bones or bone loss, thinning and dry hair. Here is a Dutch test example showing a case of low DHEA and low testosterone circled in red. The patient was taking pain medication. Please note, over-the-counter pain medication can have this effect with long-term use. This significantly suppressed both of these hormones from being produced. We knew what was causing the issue in this case. However, it could have easily been a cumulative effect of any type of chronic stress driving down testosterone and DHEA. The impact of cortisol on the male reproductive system is that profound. The green arrow shows that the testosterone is being broken down in a balanced manner, which is what you want to see. This individual has low testosterone and DHEA. His estrogen levels are high, so he is converting his testosterone into estrogen. This converted estrogen is going too strongly down the 4-OH estrogen metabolism pathway, which can lead to DNA damage. He is also favoring his 5-A testosterone pathway. Having this information is life-changing. There are specific nutrients that block the conversion of testosterone to estrogen. We can bring his testosterone and estrogen levels back into balance, prevent the DNA damage from the stronger estrogen pathway, and once his testosterone levels are approaching normal, assist him in breaking down the testosterone in a more balanced manner. By restoring the balance between all your hormones, such as testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol in your body, symptoms can be alleviated.